music on trendybeats.com.
Good evening. It's another beautiful Thursday, and I'm super excited to come on your way once again with OBAA SIMA, the show. My name is QUEENREGYAA, and I'm super excited to bring to you this show tonight. We're going to dive into women empowerment and talk about women, how best you can become the very best version of yourself and become great as you're growing up, from teenager to, your age where you're supposed to be. So today I want you to tell a friend that living Vision Life Radio is live with OBAA SIMA, the show. My name is QUEENREGYAA, and this program is brought to you by International Vision Church and ASARE Kitchen Craft and event. We'll be back soon shortly. Don't go anywhere.
Music on trendybeats.com.
Welcome back. So if you just tune in, this is OBAA SIMA on Vision Life Radio, Facebook Vision Life Radio, and on TikTok Vision Life Radio OBAA SIMA. So I'm super excited to have my beautiful guests in the studio tonight. We have Mrs. Josephine Asare. Thank you for coming to the show. And we have Mrs. Astalina Tete. Thank you for joining us. It's been amazing to see these beautiful women who we are going to have a lot of interaction and discussion with to talk about women empowerment and how best you can become the very best version of yourself. And this program is really brought to you by ASARE Kitchen Craft and International Vision Church. I really want to talk about ASARE Kitchen Craft. So ASARE Kitchen Craft and Flower Institute has the primary objective of training primary JSS and SS graduates, and leavers, traders, housewife, etc., to obtain excellent practical skills in the following. So they are into cake decorations with sugar crafts, pastries, desserts, floral ribbons, and balloons, art, cosmetologies, and many more. So this is the time for you to contact ASARE Kitchen Craft to get you sorted out. And of course, course duration 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months. So we will be our working class lady. This is not the time for you. I don't have time. Maybe you don't know how to cook, but this is the time you have to learn some material of cooking, techniques, desserts, and food design, Nina, Allegra Kitchen Crafts have got you sorted out. Or your housewife, you want to learn more to attract your husband, but so yeah, different kinds of dishes too. For your husband to have different tastes, you can always contact Allegra Kitchen Crafts. Omutre Nina. Now, for where we JHS, where we senior high school, especially senior high school, if let's say you want to work, over so your shop attendant, over so you na say unye jumani bia meant nefi and case there's no job. Just the little coins that you have gathered and I will see as soon call Allegra Kitchen Craft. They've got you sorted out. Within 2-3 weeks and some couple of months, you'll be able to call yourself a chef or a caterer. All you need to do is to contact them because they've got you sorted out. They also take orders. So in case your wedding ceremony, parties, naming ceremony, adorina, their services are wedding cake, birthday, anniversary cakes, pastry, dessert making, local and intercontinental dishes. Trust me. Local bar, ushering, be our events, be open so mufa, upe usher for no maba or events na they are into that. They offer counseling, so open business ideas. You don't know where to venture into, they will counsel you. If you want to get married, you don't know who to talk to, you're confused about your partner, they are into counseling, they'll consult you out. So you have to contact them. And admission is in progress, very, very affordable. We VGHS crowd between me and Kobe and in patronment in fee and case there is no job. You can just contact Ukita MTN I'll with me from 0244 577335 and 0245 193706. Ukita Airtel Tigwa with me from 0277 388 735. I repeat 0277 388 735. Location near Giselle SCC 06 Junction, Malam of Kaswa Road, Allegra 0606. Thank you so much. 06 Allegra Kitchen, making your event elegant and memorable. Allegra, excellent in molding kitchen. Wow, sure. When sometimes need a very powerful, intimate part choppy, or your housewife, or your working class lady. Now you're JHSR. This is the time for you to learn something and add to what you know. Then become that kind of woman you have always dreamed of. You can't be a working class lady and you don't know how to cook. You can't be a JHS leaver now for you can be an SHS leaver or to fear also per job. You can come out with your small business, food pub then you too will be earning money. So please contact them and trust me, you will be glad you did. And if you live around Sempa Valley, around second side, Honasa Ope Baby Asuma Oba International Vision Church, they've got you sorted out. Trust me, they pray the little word of God. Now on TBB, I say about Hong Kong, the over film now what say Namiasimas now so Wakuma I told him. It's Nehiansa over from 0245 193706. Come and worship with them. Trust me, your life will never be the same again. My name is QUEENREGYAA and I have the super beautiful guest tonight in the studio, Mrs. Josephine ASARE Oduntu and Mrs. Estelina Tete. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm amazed to see you this evening. You're all looking amazing. You're looking beautiful. And I want to say shout out to the pastor and the head of the department. I want to say shout out to my producer. I want to say shout out to my husband, my family, and all those that are watching me. I'm super excited to have you all in the studio tonight. So this evening we are still talking about women empowerment. And to become empowered, you don't, as I said, ministerial works, Bible ethics and other things now, So if you are not educated, sometimes it becomes very difficult. People take you for granted. And we are talking about how do we educate ourselves as women, since we are into women empowerment. And I started with Mrs. Josephine ASARE Oduntu. How do we educate ourselves as women? Yeah, how do we educate ourselves as women? It's your new many baby, but dive into them one by one, purpose, higher education and stuff.
How do we educate ourselves as women? There are many ways we can educate ourselves as women. Yeah, sorry, listeners and viewers. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's another thankful Thursday. A very blessed one.
I know.
Yes, we are here again. Yeah, to chat as usual, what we all do with our fellow women and men. I believe there are some men.
Oh, that's our watching us.
They watch us and they are listening to us.
Definitely, most definitely.
But then we appreciate you in as much as we appreciate you. Our sisters are our focal points. Yes. So the men, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Back to the question. There are many ways we can educate ourselves as women. But the education comes in various ways in the form of from the head to the toe. We can be educated all round and in all ways and in whichever way we would want to. But then when it comes to OBT education, all their focal points and then all they think about is school. That I'm going to school to acquire education, to acquire knowledge, you know. And so they are thinking of classroom education. That is, when you talk about education, that is the first and foremost that comes to everybody's mind. That I'm going to school. Formal, but that is in itself formal education. And then there's the informal education too. Yes, but whichever way it is education. I mean, come to think of it. So we are talking of the woman, since it is a woman's program and we are specific here, though the men are listening, but our specific is with the women. That when we are talking to our women and then we're encouraging them, as SIMA here can listen, we are telling you to go for the education in all its spheres and all its forms, starting with the formal education. But then there are other aspects to the facet. There are other facets of education too that we'll be looking at. Yes. So to start with, the primary education is the classroom. But then the very foremost to me is even the home.
Yeah, that's very true.
The very foremost, even before the child starts schooling, education, that's the mommy or the daddy or the parents or the siblings, what have you, the people around you. I mean, they are all forms of education that you are getting. You know what to tell your child, do this, don't do that. You are a girl, learn to sit this way, learn to sit that way. You know, they are all forms of education that we are talking about here. So education is broad, but it comes in bits and pieces and then comes together. Now I have to say a human being with your head, your ears, your eyes, you know, your hand and nose and everything. It goes on to be a complete being. Without a portion, somebody say, oh, this person is handicapped here, or handicapped there, you know. So it's a complete thing, but in different shapes and fears.
Wow.
Yeah, sure.
Wow. Sister Selena, would you want to add something to it?
Yes. Education. When we're talking about education,
how do we educate
it's very, very necessary. It's a necessity as women. Since we are empowering ourselves, we need education as one tool to empower yourself. And it involves a lifelong commitment to learning.
That's true.
To learning and to growth.
Yeah.
And then the self-development as well. Yes. So when it comes to education, it's very important. Like my sister said, there are different forms of education, and all these forms put together will be a holistic thing to make you a whole being. So in the nutshell, that is how we introduce a woman trying to access education. That is how I put it.
Okay, that's very powerful. So as you all can see, education is the very best of all when you're a woman and you're coming out with a project or an idea you need to be educated. We have education in different forms. We have formal education, we have self-directed learning, we have personal development, we have mentorship, we have financial literacy, we have community involvement. We'll talk about 3 of them, and then probably next week we'll continue because we don't have much time. So when we say formal education, what do we understand by formal education as a woman? What do we know when somebody say, oh, formal education? How do we do it as women? How do we involve ourselves in formal education whilst we are coming up with our projects? How do we educate ourselves to know all these kinds of things, to get involved, and for us to be very intelligent and smart in the formal way? Mrs. Josephine Odontu.
How do we get formal education?
Yeah, so when it comes to formal education, like pursue higher education, what do we have to do as women?
As women, there are many things we can do. You know, now the introduction of technology has made some things, let me say, some things a bit easier. Like before, I mean, those in the old school will tell you that how they had access to education was rigorous, was difficult as compared to our days now. Somebody, let me do comparison between a woman who is 70 and a lady who is 35. And a woman who is 70 who had aspired to have, she wanted to educate herself. I mean, we are breaking it down here with the formal education, you know. But those times, if typically, let's lower it to Ghana. Typically, Ghana, at the time that woman who is 70, who had wanted to upgrade herself, education was not accessible as it is now. You know, now you can be schooling, you can be a wife, you can be schooling, and I mean, you can have access to the internet and you are learning.
Sure.
You know, so the 35 is at a more advantageous side than the one who is 70. Because the one who is 70, at the time, the only thing she had access to was maybe adult education, which she had to do is after close of work. And even that one wasn't easy.
That's it.
Because even getting access to transport was a hurdle on its own. You know, but now there are many ways we can do it. We can do all these things. We are reading and we are getting educated. We are listening to podcasts. We are getting educated. We are doing online courses. So somebody can even be in your room after close of work. You are in your office, you haven't gone, and then by the time we know, you would have acquired your first degree, you've gotten your second degree, you have your PhD, and all you were sitting in there was no teacher in front of you. Why? By virtue of the power of technology. It's made some things easier for those of us our ages who are in the studio now and the lower. So anybody who is at least, let me say, the 50 years and then below, those in their 50s and below, let's say that at least we are privileged, more privileged, let me use that word, than that woman who is 70. The woman at 70 will do it, and then she's gone the extra mile.
That's true.
And then she'll be a super inspiration to those of us who are below her age. Why? Because she's gone the extra mile to do it. But to the rest of us who are below her age, especially those of us who are below 60 years, at least, it's like I said, technology has made it easier. And so we are getting it, and even now, networking.
Networking.
The power of knowing you, knowing me. You know, we get to, now it's become a common thing. There's so many things to it that we can be seeking education. And the whole essence of education is to get knowledge. And so now, what am I doing? Yes. So it's, now, if I really want to give excuses, then it's because I chose to be giving excuses. Because availability in its word in and out is plenty. So it's because I chose. So I can do it in various forms, like I said. Yes.
Wow, this is very powerful. Mrs. Estelina, would you want to add something to it?
Yes, I would like to add to what she said. First of all, education, we have formal education, informal education, and then non-formal education. There are 3 different values. Because you've mentioned formal.
We'll talk about
Let me
it.
talk about the formal.
Formal, yeah.
Yes. When we come to formal education, that is a type of education where you have structures in place. Structures have been designed purposely for learning.
Yeah.
Where you have the building, you have all other materials that you will need, facilities that you will need, like a school, purposely designed for that. That is the formal education aspect, where you have the structures, the facilities, the materials, everything accessible to you. I'm saying this to dwell on a point that my sister made.
Okay.
That I'm mentioning a building here.
Okay.
But like she said, now due to the accessibility of technology, you can sit in your home and then you can still school without walking a distance to a school, a structure, a prepared structure to go and learn. You will still be in your office. You can sit outside anywhere you like to learn.
That's true.
So the formal education in those times where we have the structures is now diminishing gradually.
Wow.
It will not go totally, not at all. But
Yeah.
it
Little
is,
by little.
yes, there's a mix up, like a variety. Let me say, put that way. Variety is emerging. You see. So ways that you can access, you can not give out any excuse because you have technology to help. As she mentioned,
Yeah.
there's technology. There are books for you to read.
Yeah.
You can just pick a book, sit outside, and you start reading. Relax in a bench or
That's
a sofa,
true.
whatever, and then you start reading. You have access to education. You get that knowledge. You can use your phone, laptop, whatever it is, to do an online course. An online course. And at the end of the day, you'll be awarded a certificate.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
sure.
very true. That's
And you're
very
good to
true.
go.
Yeah, that's very true.
You can apply for any job you want, or personally, you can use it, be self-employed.
It's
You
true.
can use it.
It's very true.
So with formal education, it is easily accessible
That's very true.
through technology, media, even in media.
You can,
You can still, I can just walk to a media, like I've come to the studio. Whatever we are doing here right now is a means of education.
Education, yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
Just that unless my producer decides to give us a certificate here.
Yeah. I know very soon you'll be there
You will
with
do
that.
the work.
We put a tag to the certificate
That's
aspect of
all.
it.
Yeah.
But we are acquiring the knowledge that we
Yeah.
need.
Yeah,
We need.
sure.
Definitely.
Formal education is accessible
Anywhere.
anywhere.
Okay.
Anywhere.
Okay, thank you very much. To my listeners, thank you for joining us. And to those who just came online, this is OBAA SIMA, and we are talking about women empowerment. And this program is brought to you by ASARE and International Vision Church. So as you all heard, of my two beautiful women, they say formal education, you can automatically educate yourself. You can do self-education by learning more about tech, doing online courses. So don't say, I don't have money to go to the school, I don't have money to do this, I don't have money to do that, and limit yourself. You can do all these things when you are online, and then learning books, doing all sort of things to get yourself involved to become the woman you want to be. So formal education is very, very important as a woman. I'm going to use myself as an example. Once I completed.
Yeah, I like
Yes.
that. I
Yeah,
like that.
Auntie want to say
Yeah, I
something.
just wanted to add that it's not only about the classroom work, like I said, where structures have been put in place. Even when it comes to vocational training.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can also
Yeah,
educate
so
yourself
number one,
means of
yeah.
from
formal
education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even now in our
Yeah.
schools we have STEM, the STEM education where you
Yeah.
have science, technology,
Yeah, okay.
English, maths, and then science.
Okay.
So
Okay.
STEM is readily available for us to learn in
Learn-
schools.
okay.
And now even they have done the TVET education. When it comes
Okay.
to education,
Yeah.
there's TVET. We have the
Technical.
SS senior high where you learn books, where you do the what do you call it? The literal aspect of it, the theoretical aspect and all that. Then we have the TVET schools too that do more practicals than the theory. You see, they
Yeah.
do more practicals than theory. So with such, it's also a means of formal education. So vocational is no more just be there, your boss.
Yeah. When you be there are theoretical aspects about
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah, you do it and then you have your certificate.
I was
It's just the
asking,
same.
yes, I was asking somebody, what are you learning in school? Say me, robotics, something. I said, but Ghanaians, we don't have. And say, after school, you like to travel and do stuff. I'm so okay, that will definitely help. So I think you're right there, and with the vocational skills, it's not all about there are theoretical aspects on it too, so it's very important. Like I said, I wanted to use me myself as an example.
Yeah,
so, so after school, when I was looking for a job, I realized that after working for one of the media companies, TV media companies, I realized that they were just using me. So I was like, but I've got all this knowledge, why don't I just add more to what I have? So I started reading, getting to know what I can be.
Wow.
Yes, what I can be and what I can have impact on other companies to hire me. Because when you go and you're looking for a job, they go like, you don't have what it takes, we don't have what it takes. So I decided to come out with a plan. So one of the your friend is saying, I just don't want to mention names because yes, one of the tech companies called me for a job interview, and they wanted to sit me down and then work like 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and I was like, oh no, I can't do that. I'm somebody who would love to explore, so why don't you give me what you want and I'll give you what you need. And they said, okay, they want their revenue, they want this task at the end of this particular month, they want this kind of revenue. So if I'm able to hit this kind of revenue, then I'm good to go. So they are giving me 1 month to do what I want to do, and they have not done it before. And I was like, okay, so why don't you give me a try? Your revenue will be increasing. And he was like, okay, let's do it. So at the end of the day, I didn't sit at the office because I'm not a person that sits at the office and work. I would like to explore. So then I took their forms, I did whatever I'm supposed to do, and then I started doing my own thing with their company t-shirts and then tag. So at the end of the month, those people who sat at the office and then worked, I generated more revenue.
Wow.
And they were like, but how did you do it? And I said, well, it's also my secret. This is how I work. And I said, okay, then we have to employ you. So let's take, for instance, if they are paying the company to say, 1,500, because of me, my generation, now I was taking like 2,000. But I came to meet them. They were the senior staff over there. And then I started working. So that means that if you, as a woman, what I'm trying to say is, as a woman, if you want to add, you have to add a brand to yourself, like be branded. Do you understand? Be branded. It's all formal education, self-education. You don't have to say that I have to go to this university, I have to go to that university. You can do a lot of studying online to be able to empower yourself and write some things down that will groom you from your head to toe, and know exactly what you're saying when you're going to seek for a job interview or you're going for a contract with a company. And then when they know what you can offer them, when it comes to paying off, it becomes very, very easy. So the brand is very, very important as a woman. Put a brand on yourself, no matter what it takes, and then make sure that you go with your words. It's all part of the formal education. And as Auntie Estelina and Auntie Josephine said, we should learn how to educate ourselves so that whatever finances we are expecting will definitely come. And I'm super excited that all my listeners are enjoying, and then tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that OBAA SIMA is live on Facebook, and we are talking about women empowerment and formal education to empower ourselves and to become great personality for the nation. So back on our shopping, let me just acknowledge my sponsor. So this program is brought to you by Aliga Kitchen Craft and International Vision Church and Golden Tongue events. So Golden Tongue events are into ushering and or these kind of things. When you want to get married, yes, if you want to get married and then you need an MC, you can call them and they've got you sorted out. So yeah, if you want to get married during marriage ceremony, naming ceremony, birthday parties and graduation, you can simply call them on 055912 1646 or 0200259550. So Golden Tone Event and Planning. They are good in MC. And they've got you sorted out. They've got you sorted out. Even with your ushering, oh yeah, adoring, wedding kakapana pair, smart ladies, now more usher mawa. They've got you sorted out. So please call Golden Talk Event on 0200259550 or 0559121646. Let me talk about Legal Kitchen Crafts because they are so much into catering services and intercontinental dishes. So let me talk about it a little bit. So Legal Kitchen Crafts is Legal Kitchen Crafts and Flora Institute are into cake, chin, bread rolls, coated garnot, donut, meat and fish pie, modo, fruit cake, sister. I say you know you could see you. Fruit cake, oh, and it's my name. Well, how should you make cake and eggs for now? Who say ya meat pie, you beef burgers, pizza, cupcakes and all those things, please. If I chop from a while, you have to learn. So we're JHS students, SS students, university graduates, but you can simply call them on 0244 577 3355. I repeat, 0244 577 335. Please call them and enroll. Make me yena makwa kwasua because pesa me popo aduane na me visitors say auntie Asalina besam wo fia na auntie Josephine besam wo fia na mako a Legal Kitchen Craft. Me ho say me ba be popo me nsa no amomede. So please don't hesitate to go. Even if you're a banker, me patch for honey question na wa unya wo side business because you say I go for the deeper contractors eat, construction workers eat. So come to a Legal Kitchen Craft. They've got you sorted out. And I face so Otis and Valley opposite Prudential Bank of Hana. Opa baby now ni yanko pon small bonfire pese utwemo bonfire by International Vision Church. Pese utie nyame asem unti bibiase about the word of God. They've got you sorted out. Oba wakoma beto yem. Now I okay. So my name is Regia and this is OBAA SIMA show. So we are still right here talking about women empowerment and how to become the very best version of yourself. So our next is we want to talk about personal development as women, all under women empowerment. I mean, yang and bano. How do we develop ourselves to become very great? How do we, I mean, then I was here, yeah, a bit me develop it out your home, a bit me be a kaya honey about send it or mine or self development. How do we do that as women? And Mrs. Josephine,
self development starts from the mind.
Okay.
Why do I say from the mind? It starts from the mind because you ask yourself, what do I want to do? Where do I want to add value? Which value adding things should I be added by the close of day? Your self-development will determine the level to which you go.
Wow.
In the people you surround yourself with. We say this thing over and over here again. Assuming I'm surrounded by 5 millionaires, there's the greater possibility that I'm the 6th millionaire. It's high.
Yeah, sure. That's very true.
Equally, if I'm surrounded by, excuse my language, 5 fools, the possibility that I'm the 6th fool is high.
Yeah.
I can't be one out of the lot who have surrounded me and then claim that I'm exceptional. So if I really want to develop myself, it starts from the mind.
Exactly.
The mind telling me that what do I want to gain by the close of day?
Yeah, that's true.
That is what I should be asking myself here. That Josephine, by when all is said and done,
Yeah.
what am I saying? What will be said of me?
Yeah.
You know, because this life we live, I don't know if it is here that I said it. The Bible is 66 books. I am the 67th book. Because no chapter, no book of the Bible has been written with Jesus as book. No.
Yeah.
Or Jesus Christ or God. No.
that's
It's almost all of them have names of people.
Yeah. That's
Is
very
it
true.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, whichever? Most of them have names of books. So the 67th year will be the book according to Josephine. Now, in the area of her self-development, what will be said of her? You know, if I put it at the back of my mind, that at the end of the day, Josephine, I want my life to be the one that inspired people. You know, it is not when you are really alive that matters most. It is what people will say when one day you are gone.
That's very
So
true.
if you only came to this earth, once there lived Josephine, and she married and she had children, and then one day she became an old woman and she died. I know that is plenty people's story. And so what?
Yeah.
That is no story.
Yeah. You have to.
But then if we have a story of, and then she braced some oaths, you know, some people, some sentences will be used by women like that. Yes, and she braced some oaths, and she did this in the area of developing herself, and she went against the odds. You know, those kind of tenses, if they are running through your biography or autobiography, it adds meaning to people. It challenges people. So if all I have at the upstairs there on my mind, if I'm telling myself that by the close of day, I would have stretched myself.
Wow. Yeah.
You know,
That's true.
if the aim here is that the mind that God gave me, I want to develop it in such a way that I will stretch it, and not stretching it in its evil sense, but in every good sense. That when we are done, one young lady, one young girl, some women, some people out there,
Yeah.
even some men
Yeah.
can be inspired.
That's
you know,
true.
there are some men whose mentors are women.
That's
And
very
it is
true.
because, look, if you have nothing to give, nobody looks up to you.
It's true. Very.
Nobody.
Yeah. That's very
But
true.
if you have something to give, or you did something, everybody looks up to you.
Yeah.
So if I want to consider self-development
okay. Yeah.
or personal development, then what do I bring to the table that at the end of the day should inspire the next person? Am I living for, you know, even in the Bible will say that to some he gave 1 talent, 2, 5.
Yeah.
So what is my focus? What is my criteria here? Am I developing myself in such a way that the people who are looking up to me, they think about this world is, you can't get everybody beyond on your side.
That's very
no
true.
way.
That's
No
very
matter how many years you live, you may be the president of whoever or the founder of whatever. You can't get the whole world being on your side.
Yeah.
But then, assuming like 1 talent that you were given, or 2 or 5, whichever number, to me that thing also goes to how many people do I want to affect.
Yeah. That's true.
The talent there is based in different volumes and different spheres.
Wow. Yeah.
When it comes to personal development, if 1 talent is to 1,000, and 2 is to 2,000, and 5 is to 5,000, is that the number of people I would want to affect by the close of the day? Because I had something that I did. I did develop me. You know,
Yeah.
this is me. This is the me that God created. But then by the close of the day, I did develop me that went the extra mile that inspired that young woman somewhere. That inspired some lady somewhere. That even guys were affected. You know, so it should be in its positive sense.
That's very true.
What am I doing, or what will I do that will go the extra mile that will positively affect? Is it in the thousands or 2,000s or 5,000s or in the millions or whatever the case may be? So in all its totality, my personal development, what do I want to achieve by the close of the day? That is what it should be.
Wow.
And what I want to achieve should come with the people that I move
Around you. Yeah.
with. See, the people that we surround ourselves with, they are very, very important.
Yeah.
They are a necessity. We are in the Christian radio station, so we'll take the Christian as, the yardstick here.
Yeah.
you may be in the church, in a particular church. Everybody goes to church for different reasons.
That's very true.
So you may have your cycle in the church, and all they talk about is shoes and bags.
Yeah, that's very true.
All right.
Yeah.
And they are in the church because that is the area to them they consider self-development. So then they have the latest Gucci bag or shoe or whatever, and then that is their achievement for them. All right.
Yeah.
But there are those two that you may also surround yourself with, and then all they talk about is the mental development. How can we add value upstairs there? Because when you enter a room, people will look at you with what you have dressed. Fine. But then when you sit down and then you talk, what comes from the brain?
Wow.
What comes from the mouth?
Wow.
That is now, you may even have a tattered cloth, and people are like, but she's worn this tattered cloth, but see the way she talks. She talks with so much audacity. She talks with so much intelligence.
Yeah, that's
you
very
know,
true.
what she gives from up there, you can see that she's done good to herself. So, I mean, is it coming from that pace, or is coming from the pace of, we are all women, so let's all assist, let's all one sleep, and then tomorrow it will be said of us, let's all one leave, you know. Is it about that one? Yeah, so to me that is what it should be about. It should basically be about you, the person. Yeah, about me, about you. What do we want to do by the close of the day? You know?
Wow.
Yeah,
this is very powerful. Wow. Auntie Selena, can you add your...
to add to?
Yeah.
Like our song says, our intro song says, Mother of Nature.
Yeah, sure.
The African woman.
Woman, yeah.
To be a mother of nature, a woman of nature, by self-grooming, you know. And educating yourself is as well a means of self-grooming and development. So to do that, let me also take it from this perspective, that you should have a mentor that you can look up to.
Sure.
Right. There are some influential people in society that as a woman you can look up to. I always refer to Nana Jane, Professor Jane.
Yeah, our vice president.
Our current vice president.
Yeah.
She's an educationist.
Yeah. Wow.
I always look up to her.
Wow.
I remember I met her one time about 2 or 3 months ago at a funeral.
Wow.
Oh yes, that was the funeral of the late first president's son. Kwame
Yeah. Okay.
So I interacted briefly with her. I didn't have much time, but a little time
You had.
I just interacted, and you could see that she's one person who is very learned.
Wow.
She has added value to her life.
Wow.
Life.
Wow.
And not just classroom education.
Exactly.
sure.
Classroom one. She's well groomed. The way she talks, and she doesn't just speak to anybody.
Yeah.
Just like that. Even at that time, she wasn't yet the vice president. But you see, that's the reality.
Yes. Even
around
to
her.
get closer to her.
Exactly, that kind of dignity around her. So you see, to get to where you want to get to the top, and if you want to advance and leave a legacy.
Thank you.
If you want to leave a legacy, then you need to ensure that you get a mentor, someone that you look up to, and pick tidbits from, learn from, go to for advice. And by so doing, it will even help you when you get a mentor. It's one thing that helps so much that it shortens your journey of life.
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
You know, it shortens your journey of life. In situations where you have to make mistakes, because you have a mentor, you go to the mentor to seek advice. Therefore, you skip some mistakes, which will delay your progress. In a way.
Okay. I think so. Okay.
Yes. And then at the same time, you copy the person.
Okay.
Thereby, also omitting certain mistakes, which will be an obstacle to your swift journey in life. So mentorship is one thing that is very, very necessary. Then you have that conferencing. Yes, you have to attend conferences and learn from there, and then workshops. And then, like my sister said, you connect with like-minded women. Women of dignity, intelligence, and all that.
Then you learn from them what they've gotten into. So we have somebody online who is asking a question.
Oh, okay.
We have George Kunu or say that what's the difference between formal education and education itself. And the question was, first of all, what is personal development? So he wants to know what a personal development is, and also the difference between formal education and education itself. So more different. So we can take his question from the first. What is personal development? When we talk about personal development, he wants to understand more. So George, they will give it to you.
I sent the link to him later.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you send the link to him
later on. That's why.
Okay. So George, the link will be sent to you, and then they have already talked about it because of our time. So the link will be sent to you so that you go through, because we've talked about that already. Thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate you, George. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that OBAA SIMA is live. Our time it's almost spent, and my producer wants to
our one and only producer.
I know, but so crunchy.
We love him so much.
I know. So as you heard, personal development is very important. I'll add just a little to establish short-term, long-term goal and create a plan to achieve them as a woman. Okay, like our sisters and aunties and mothers said, you need to seek mentorship, guidance, somebody who is more experienced, who is more intelligent, who have the aura.
Someone who has made a mistake that you will avoid.
Exactly. So learn from people like that, like our sister say, the vice president here, the secret admirer. Find somebody who is more intelligent so that you can.
Mine is the former Chief Justice, Georgina Wood.
Wow.
Her
own is Georgina Wood. So you can see, you find somebody who is very, very more intelligent so you can learn from them. And also networking, you need to go to conferences and workshops, events, connect with the like-minded people who are very smart, those that have made it. Get to them, and you can address them by saying, oh, I love your beautiful dress, it looks good on you. And then you can exchange contacts and exchange names, you start it with the self-care, prioritize physical and mental and emotional well-being. You have to take very good care of yourself. Okay, so I should come up with the question again. Okay, so we want to answer George's question. So he said, what is personal self-development, and what is the difference between formal education and self-education?
Formal education
and self-education. So George, please, our sister is taking us through short terms and then you understand.
So with a formal education, it's a structure, like I mentioned earlier on, a structure and a systematic form of education provided by institutions such as schools, colleges and universities, leading to recognized certificates or degrees. And then education in general is you upgrading yourself, acquiring wisdom. Education is the form of acquiring a means by which we acquire wisdom, knowledge. By a means by which we acquire knowledge. So education in itself can be in any form. Once you acquire knowledge, you are educating yourself. So that is what I'll say the difference between the two is. And like I said, there are forms of education, different forms of education. We have the formal. I've mentioned the formal already. We have the informal. That is a non-structured one, non-structured and flexible form of education, acquired through daily life experiences, and self-directed learning and social interactions. For example, at home, being a mother, you train your child in the home, how to brush the teeth. That is an informal education. But you're doing everyday life. Everyday life, you teach your child what to do. As the child learns from you, it becomes a form of education. Personal hygiene.
Personal hygiene.
They are all forms of informal education. And then even social interactions. When you meet people from outside, how you interact, how you chat, they are all forms of
education.
Informal education. So social interactions is also one aspect of it. It's you meet people, you know how to socialize, how to when you're in public. I remember there is one person that in the olden days, when you are with your parents somewhere in the midst of people, in a social gathering, they speak with you.
With
to
the
you
eyes.
with the eyes.
Yes,
The eye contact.
my mom
used to do that.
Yes. Oh, being in the same trouble, what my small culture,
She blinks the eye.
And you
And
know
all these
exactly.
are forms of informal education.
Okay.
And I remember there was one person, I had one brother, when he's doing something, and my mother would just blink the eye and say,
Why you blink?
Others will know that,
He understood us.
About me, why are you blinking your eye?
He was refusing it.
I know.
Yes. And so that is it. So, and then we have the non-formal education.
Non-formal education.
That's when it's a semi-structured.
Oh, okay.
So the formal is structured.
And the non-formal.
Informal is unstructured.
Unstructured.
And then we have the semi-structured, which is the non-formal education.
Okay.
And that is the one that is the vocational training, where you go to the fitting shop and go and be under your master for some time.
The one you even do the adverts for.
Yeah.
It's
It's all form of education.
Yeah, but even with Allegra, because of the certification, now it is structured. Sorry, it is structured. So that's why we can say
braiding of
you
hair.
go and stay there. Sometimes there were times when you go and your madam will tell you to come and wash.
Some towels.
wash clothes for her,
Mop the floor.
and all those things.
Yeah.
In the past, the way it used to be.
Yeah.
That was the kind of non-formal education
Okay.
training that's here. So please, I think I've.
Okay, so
and I also noticed something that I mean, for anything education that we talk about, it's twin sister, since we are doing a female program, it's twin sister is training. It goes hand in hand with our training. So whatever you are doing, or whether personal development, formal education, informal, whatever it is, that means it's training we are talking about here. You know, so we can't be talking of any form of education or development and then we are not talking about the word training.
Yeah, that's very
because
important.
like she mentioned, and we both said, what we start at home with, which is the first point of contact of education, is training. We are talking about in the formal education is training. You are training yourself at something. You want to be good at something. I mean, she mentioned Professor Jane Nana, and I mentioned the former Chief Justice Georgina Wood. You know, they've all had training, and which we want to be impacted in one way or the other, and for which we want to acquire what they have acquired. You know, to be impacted positively. So once we are talking about any form of education, any form of development, anything, so what George is asking, and the totality of it, or to add to what my sister is saying, is we are all talking about training. So George, have it at the back of your mind, okay, for us, that is education, training.
You need to train yourself.
They are training there. That's someone who say that's my training. Education's training is training.
The self-development, you see, it refers to the process of intentionally improving. The process of intentionally improving oneself to acquire some skills, qualities, and then your full potential, you bring it out. Yes, that is self-development.
So you mentioning the mentor something, it is a key area. You know, I was glad when she mentioned the mentor something. The mentor something, your mentor, once you are surrounded by a mentor or mentors, which is in your circle, you are totally going to avoid some things that they did as mistakes.
That's true.
You avoid them. That is if you want to listen.
That is
Because they are there, you are surrounded by them.
by them who has ears
hear. So if you have the ears to hear, then you hear and you learn from it. So once you are learning from it, then you are being trained in that arena. You know. So George, I hope we've answered your question.
Yes, he's excited.
So thank you.
George is excited. Say hi to your guest. Say hello to you, Mr. Ten, Mr. Sai.
Thank you, George.
Say
We
he
love
appreciates
you.
Yes, say great words. His name is King George.
Wow, King George, we love you. Thank you. See, he's a man and he's enjoying our program.
Thank you so much
we
for
love
joining.
you.
Thank you so much for joining us. And also tell a friend, share the link to your friends, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell your wife that OBAA SIMA keeps on. Every Thursday we come online. It's very unfortunate our time is up, and then we'll be wrapping very, very soon, and we are so excited. So the women please, you heard it all. Our twinning is training. So all what you have to do is you have to be empowered by training yourself. Train as in train to become the very best version of yourself, so that any question that you're being asked, you'll be able to answer, and then put your right at your right and your left at your left. You know exactly what you're doing. You wouldn't be confused when you're doing what you're supposed to do. Let's take, for instance, you want to come out with this business because you're having this money. Say, what do I do with this money? What business can you do? But when you go online and you train yourself, you read a lot, you become empowered to know where to sell this to your audience, where to go, the place to catch them. If it is boxes that you want to sell, you know the banks guys need smart boxes. If it's shirts that you want, you have to look the quality shirts and give it to them. If it is dressy, you know the church ladies want dressy top. So you know who to target and who to sell it. At the end of the day, you have your coins in your pocket and nobody's sharing that money with you. Okay, so I hope and know that you have been blessed by this amazing show, OBAA SIMA. And my guest did me beautiful today. The answers were so thank you, Mrs. Josephine and Mrs. Astelina for joining us. This program was brought to you by Allegra Kitchen Crafts, International Vision Church, and Golden Tongue event. We are so excited. In fact, we want more sponsors. So please, if you want to sponsor this show, you can simply call us on 0244 577 0244 577 335. And if you want to come on the show, bring up a show on the radio, you can call on 0245 193706. And if you want to ask any questions about the studio, you want to come up with an idea of anything, you can also call us on 0250-302-7765. You have a product, you want to sell your product, you want us to talk about your product, you want to sell online, you just have to give us some small money and then we'll do this beautiful advert for you. So you can call us on 050-302-7765. And Obika Chem send my voice here, they were ready to bring some coins.
And so that you do adverts for the person.
Just bring call the studio, bring the money, because we need money to do a lot of things. Okay, so just come to the studio. The studio is located at Sempa, opposite the bank, the Prudential Bank. Just call the numbers and then PM will come and pick you up, we sit and we talk about business. So kudos to my PM. Thank you so much, Shima. You've done an amazing job. He needs some dollars, you know. So yeah. And to the entire team, you're very grateful, Mrs. Josephine and Mrs. Astelina. Thank you so much. And to my amazing listeners, I couldn't have done this program without you being around. I do appreciate your time, your consistency. Join us this and every Thursday at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. We appreciate you so much. And today my name happens to be QUEENREGYAA, and today's show is OBAA SIMA. We really talked about women empowerment. So join us this Thursday, next week Thursday, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and trust me, you'll be blessed. You did. And it's bye-bye for today. Stay safe. Take care.
Bye.